All right, welcome back. It is April 28th, 2025. Let's jump straight into the day review. I'm thinking of only doing reviews of this box from now on. I don't know. Give me some feedback in the comments, please, about it. This is the window where I trade from and to. I start at 7, I end at 4 if I don't get off earlier than that. But typically speaking, I always review this price action. Anything before that, I don't really typically dive into too much for my own analysis unless it's completely relevant. So like this stuff right here, it doesn't really matter too much. It does give me context on why I'm taking the trade I'm taking here today. But yeah, just give me some feedback on that. If you want me to still do from opening the 1800 candle all the way till 4 o'clock, or if you want me to just do where I trade it from and to. So anyways, we'll keep the format on this one basically a little bit similar. I'll still review some of this because it matters. But in the future, if it doesn't, I'll just take it out completely. So the context today was I was looking long. I was looking to go up higher. My target was very specifically 4 standard deviations from this projection on Friday. This was an hourly sweep with a 15-minute breaker. I mentioned that on the Friday review. If you haven't gone to see that, go and watch it. So I wanted that to finish. We got really close, but didn't quite get there and then pull back. Now the pullback to me was exactly that, a pullback. I'm not switching my bias whenever price is coming against me unless I have an actual reason to. There's no reason here for me to think we're shorting because there's nothing high probability in terms of shorts from this top. There's nothing per my model here that would give me a high probability short. So any price action to the downside is just a pullback to go higher, in my opinion and in my analysis. So I came onto the charts on stream and I had a clear idea that, hey, this is probably going to go up higher. What solidified my idea was the fact that here in terms of shorts, the shorts were failing. So what I mean by that is, let's go here. CISD is there. CISD is also there on the 5-minute. This high is a sweepable here. And we swept it here, right? Swept it here. We created a bearish breaker here on the 1-minute. And he failed. We then create another bearish breaker here. And I believe it failed here the first time. And then we had another one. Let me just double check to make sure I'm not tripping when I'm telling you guys that. Yeah, so that's a failure. This one had a, oh no, sorry. My bad. Messed up. Okay, so let's bring the tool back up. So CISZ is here making this a sweepable. You see, low, high, low, higher high here. So that's a sweep on price. So that was the number one try, right? And on top of that being the number one try, now this becomes a new CISD. Okay. So this high is a sweepable. It gets swept. It does go. So that was bullet number 1 here, like so. And then here it gets swept like so. But now this is bullet number 2 because this didn't deliver standard deviations to the downside. So this is bullet number 2. Sweeps, creates the 1-minute breaker here. It's here, right? And so now this is bullet number 2. If bullet number 2 doesn't deliver or fails, then automatically, all right, I can switch my bias to being long. So here, he went to 3.5, but it didn't go to 4. And then he failed, which means that now I can expect higher prices rather than lower prices. I can switch my bias automatically to go up higher. So when I log in and I'm looking for NQ, that's what gave me my bias to, okay, cool, we're looking up. So looking from the side of looking up, we have CISD, high, low, high, even as our sweepable. It gets swept. There's no 1-minute breaker here. Gets swept again right here. We create our 1-minute breaker. That delivered already to 4.5. CISD, high, low, high, sweepable. Gets swept. I don't know if there's a bullet there or not. Let me double check. Whoops. Okay, here it goes. All right. So let's see. It gets swept. Yeah, there's no bullet here because there's no breaker here. Okay. So this is the first bullet. And then boom, it's winning. So first bullet wins. First bullet wins. And then price is now pulling back, right? After this delivered to 4.5, it pulls back. And when it pull back, this is a sweepable. because this high here is a CISD if you mark it across like so. So CISD high, low, high, giving me the sweepable, sweeps, and that sweepable gives us a breaker to the upside. So we'll put those fibs right here. Go back to the 5 minute. So it gives me a breaker as well that it's currently in play on the 1 minute. We then have a CISD up here. There's no 5 minute breaker in this portion of price action. So CISD here, high, low, high. That's the sweepable. It gets swept again and it gets swept one more time. This is a bullet 2 here because on this section, there was a 1 minute breaker and that 1 minute breaker had failed. So this is bullet number 2 here. And basically I logged onto the charts when this was happening. So let's go to the left. You see there's a breaker here. So that's bullet number 1, but that failed. And bullet number 2 is here. Now, admittedly, this bullet number 2 looks very ugly in terms of the 1 minute from what I usually prefer it to look like, but it is a bullet number 2. Bullet number 2s are just a lot more likely to hold because it's like the last line of defense. I've been saying that on stream a few times, and I think I've mentioned in the reviews, but that's basically the last line of defense for this trade to actually go my way. If it doesn't, then I can switch back to being bearish bias and I can start looking to the downside. And so, yeah, I made a limit order when we were like near here. Unfortunately, it took off without me. And thankfully, it came back to fill me in. So I was still able to enter. I didn't have any new information. I mean, yes, it could have gone against me because this is CISD, this is sweepable, and that's a CISD to the downside on the 1 minute. But again, my bias is long. Why? Because that's what's winning. Bullet number 1 wins. Bullet number 1 wins. Bullet number 1 is winning so far. Here it's bullet number 2, right? But it's the first of its kind. And the short side has been losing so far. So again, I'm thinking we're going up. We're not going down. We're going to complete the projections from Friday. Until we do so, we're just going to keep going up. So yeah, that was my bias. So price comes back down. It fills my order once it does here. My stop is on the low. I think my order was right around here, give or take. The actual projection is from here to here. I personally didn't want to get on the opening of this breaker. I wanted to get a little bit of a discount because originally I could have gotten a discount. I just didn't click fast enough and I didn't market order myself in. I could have gotten a discount to like right here, but I was making the decision on whether I should take this trade or not. Next thing you know, I put my limit order like right here and then it just left. So anyways, on stream, we see it coming back down. I enter, give or take, right here, somewhere on here, give or take. So I got a little bit of a discount on it. I really could have done a 50%, but yeah, stop goes here. And then my target was the 4 standard deviations here from Friday's completing breaker. So even though I would like to get more, I know that once it gets here, it's all free games for it to drop. It doesn't have to go any further because we're just finishing the idea that was already on the charts from Friday. So yeah, you see me on stream, take the trade. I have it all there. I would do some edits, but honestly, that would take me a lot of time. So if you're interested, just go and watch the stream and fast forward to when I get on the trade. And yeah, comes down, starts going up. Great trade. Creates a new breaker here as well. That's valid. This is a 5 minute sweep. This is the first 1 minute breaker after that. So this is also valid. But now it's so thick and it's after the fact that these projections are just less likely to deliver all the way to like big standard deviations. Because again, once it gets here, like it's free game to start dropping. So I'm aware of that and I don't move to break even. Some people were asking me on stream if I should move to break even now because it has displacement and whatever. I don't. I chose not to because there's nothing invalidated in my trade and there's no entry on the opposing side that I would want to get on. So there's no reason for me to close my high probability trade if there's not a high probability trade on the opposite side per my model that tells me I should be closing. So yeah, I just left it open. We had a huge retracement. It comes back to break even and even some negative P&L for a little bit. And then he turns around, takes off, takes profit, and I exit my trade. And that was that. So yeah, really good trade. Really awesome to catch it live on stream. And then the next trade that comes on the board, it's a 5 minute as a CISD to the downside here. Low, high, low, making this a 5 minute sweepable here, unfortunately, if you were trading this breaker, this breaker to the downside here, you would have been stopped out if you put your stop loss at equal highs. And that's what I do. I always put it at equal highs. Now, I skipped this trade because I honestly wanted to see a second run on this high to get a bullet 2 play coming out of here. And then I could ride that bullet 2 play with a better entry than the first one. But yeah, I never gave it. It dropped. It didn't reach 4 standard deviations either. It only reached 3.5. So on this trade, like I would have had to aim for 2.5, or I would have had to pivot here when this breaker was created, which I definitely would have. So let's flip to the upside real quick, because my bias was we're going to go up. We're going to finish that. If we're going to drop, we're only going to drop to the 50-minute sweepable and or the 1 hour sweepable. We're not really going to go too far out. Again, you can watch it on stream. I talked about it on why it should be there. But long story short, it's a 50-minute sweepable. It's a 1 hour sweepable. It makes a lot of sense to me that those get swept before we really make the continuation move, which I think it's going to be this long term. So because of that, I'm thinking, cool, we're going to drop. We're going to drop to below those 2 areas. And that's where I want to be buying from. So my model on the 15-minute is 15-minute sweepable, 1 minute breaker. And for this specifically, I wasn't around, so I wasn't trading this, but you're looking for bullet 1. So bullet 1 wouldn't be here because there's no breaker. Bullet 1 would be here. This is your first breaker to the upside after we get below the 50-minute sweepable. And of course, you would have gotten stopped out here. And then immediately after getting stopped out, you had another re-entry next to it, which is right here. This is bullet number 1. This would be bullet number 2. The breaker is still valid and in play, which is this low. So everything is aligning for you to be able to take this. If you took an L on this, you can just retake the next entry. And if you take an L on the second entry, then you're just wrong and it's going to keep dropping. Now, as far as this breaker goes, it's not the highest probability breaker because it has no IFG, no busy. The breaker candle, which is this blue candle, is an inside candle. It does close on the first time. So on paper, this is just a B trade, which is not good. Okay. But that's not the story. Like, yes, that's the way it looks, but that's not the story. The story is this is a 50-minute sweepable and a 1 hour sweepable. So if we can confirm a higher time frame breaker here in this area of 5-minute or 15-minute, then this is a lot more likely to go to 4.5 at least, if not further, because it's going to be a continuation play on the hourly chart, not just on the lower time frames chart. So the fact that it's also a bullet 2, it's a really good thing because bullet 2, again, is that last line of defense. So if it doesn't go here, it's just not going to go at all. And we're just going to keep on dumping. So this is a great second bullet that you could have taken. My target would have been definitely 4.5 standard deviations. I always put my TP at 4 standard deviations because sometimes it goes to 4.2, and then it comes back. So be out by 4. Pretty much is what I'm saying. And yeah, on this area, this is a 15-minute breaker, as you can see here. High, low, lower, low, higher, high. So it became a higher time frame breaker, and it's also a 15-minute breaker. So we got low, high, lower, low, higher, high, giving us another 15-minute breaker to go and follow. So what happens by the end of the day? By the end of the day, we come back to 2.5 standard deviations, and that was the peak of the day. So what I'm expecting for tomorrow is sometime during Asia and London, we'll go ahead and either finish this projection out, or we'll have a deep retracement. We don't take that out, or we have a deep retracement. We do take it out. We go into this 4 hour sweepable, which is this line, and then we set up the structure to then continue up higher. But I am expecting this week to take this high out. At least that's my bias as of now. That may change as the week goes on. We'll see what happens. But yeah, those are pretty much the only trades. I mean, it was honestly, it was a pretty smooth, easy day, in my opinion. You just had to be able to hold through this when it comes back against you, which is a really scary spot to be in. Admittedly, like, it's not easy to watch your trade go from here to here when you're up hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, and then it goes back to 0 or negative. That part is not easy, but if you come in with a plan and you're going to be stop loss or take profit on that plan, then there's nothing for you to do. You already made that decision prior to being on the trade. Just like here, this trade had no drawdown once you were in it, but when it confirmed, it immediately went against you quite deeply, right? So you're immediately in a bunch of drawdown. If you get out because of that, now you miss out on this huge winner, right? And then here, when it gets out of drawdown, when this candle goes up, it then retraces back and it goes back into drawdown, right? So coming in with a plan pre-handedly to the trade is really important to make sure that you're not emotionally jumping in or out of positions. But yeah, that is the day review. I think that pretty much cuts everything here. Please give me the feedback on if you want me to break down the other stuff or not. Honestly, like I don't do a lot of Asia. There is some good trades in Asia, but I don't really do a lot of them in Asia. So I don't really know if I need to be adding that or not. Maybe if there's a lot of traders who do Asia, maybe I can do it because of that. But I'm trying to keep the videos a little bit more short, down packed, but bring a lot of value from stuff that actually can help you. Thank you. Bye.